Hi there, this is Lisa from Lisa's Creative Corner. Today I'm going to show you a fun emboss resist technique using Close to My Heart's delicate mandala shaped stamp set. We're going to start off by using a piece of white daisy cardstock, and I'm going to go ahead and use this anti-static pouch to pounce a little bit of powder on so that the embossing powder will only stick to where we want it to stick. And I'm going to ink up the stamp with the Versamark ink pad, which is a nice juicy pad that's just got a clear ink on it. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp that in the middle of the cardstock. And then I'm going to sprinkle some white embossing powder on top. So before I do that, I'm going to put a piece of scrap paper underneath, and I'm going to fold it in half, and I'll show you why I folded it in half in a second. And so I'm going to go ahead and liberally sprinkle as much of that embossing powder as I need to on there, because I'm going to go ahead and save the rest and flick off the rest. And then when we go ahead and put it back in the jar, having that folded piece helps it to almost funnel back in nice and easily. So now we're going to go ahead and use this heat tool to melt that embossing powder so it gets shiny. And I'm just going to go over it. I'm going to be maybe an inch or two away from it and kind of go around in circles. You don't want to keep it in one spot for too long because it might burn. But if you go around in circles and you tilt it a little bit, since it's white on white, it's a little hard to see. But if you tilt it a little bit, you can see it melt. So you're going to go around and go until it's completely melted. And I did want to mention that the all-purpose mat is underneath, and that all-purpose mat that I use is heat resistant up to 240 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's a great thing to use when you're embossing. So if your paper curls at all when it gets heated up, you can go ahead and just bend it back like I just did. Now we're going to go ahead and sponge some ink on top. And you can use this round sponge and just crumple it up a little bit like I did and pinch it to use different parts of the sponge for different colors. That way you won't mix your colors on the sponge, and each section of the sponge will have its own color designated for it. Or you can use these sponge daubers that fit nicely on your finger. And when you use the sponge daubers, I like to have one for each color. And the best thing to do is to just dab the sponge dauber onto your ink pad, but then when you use it to add color to your project, you want to go in circular motions and be very gentle. You don't want to push down too hard, because if you push down too hard, then it makes like a circle, like just kind of a blob of a color in a circle, and it's really hard to get rid of that. But if you go nice and lightly, then you can always add to it. You can build onto the color, and it just won't be, you won't see as harsh of a line. So just go around in circles very gently, and I like to, when I switch colors, I like to go back over the previous color to just blend it a little bit. And that way it just helps to give you more of a rainbow effect, and there's not such harsh lines in between your colors. So you can tell I did a little bit of overlapping with the orange and the pink, and then from the yellow to the orange, and the orange to the green. And I'm going to do that as I move forward and add all of the colors to this, this fun shape. So now I'm using blue, which is a really pretty blue called Carolina that Close to My Heart carries. And I'm just going over the green a little bit to blend it together. And then when I use the purple, which is called Thistle, I'm going to go ahead and go over the blue and the pink just to blend it a little bit more. Isn't it beautiful? I just love anything rainbow. I just think it's so colorful, and it just makes me happy. You could actually use any colors that you want. You could do it all in one color. You could just use 2 or 3 colors, but there's something about this rainbow combination that just is happy and cheery and fun. So now we're going to go ahead and stamp this Just a Note sentiment in black right in the middle of that shape. And now you could just leave it just like that and have that be your card front, or you could go ahead and use the thin cuts that coordinate with this stamp set and die cut it out. And I like to use a little piece of washi tape when I'm using the thin cuts just to hold it in place while I run it through my die cut machine. And I noticed after I die cut this piece out, there was a little bit of white showing, so I just added a little bit more of the pink ink to the top. And now I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to my card base, and I used the Hello stamp to create a little background pattern, and I stamped that multiple times on the card base in mint ink. And so now I'm going to go ahead and just add a little 3D foam tape and put it right on the center. There's so many things that you can do. You can leave it on the card base and add some black strips with the cinnamon embossed. You can add different backgrounds, and anything works with this Emboss Resist technique and the rainbow colors. So I hope you enjoyed watching, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can comment below or even email me at lisa@lisascreativecorner.com. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.